Hi, my name is Skylar Church. I am a California real estate broker, but I am also a sales manager at Accredited Real Estate Schools. I have their information posted right over here, but I also have it below. And what this video is designed for is to just kind of go over the broker state exam, all of what it entails, and just so you know what you're getting yourself into before you elect to go throughout all of these requirements that you're fulfilling and sending in these fees to the Bureau. So just knowing exactly what you're doing before you get going. So the broker's state exam for it. So for the California real estate license, the actual state exam for the brokers. So it's 200 multiple choice questions, but it's broken down into two sessions. We have the morning and the afternoon. In each session, you have 100 multiple choice questions. It's all electronic, of course, and then you have 2.5 hours for each session to complete. So 2.5 for the morning, 2.5 for the afternoon. And you have to pass the exam with a 75% or higher, but it is a weighted 75%. And I'm going to go in detail with that below. Just know that out of the 200 questions, you can't just get 75% of them right. That doesn't work. You have to get the weighted of it. So each question could be weighted a little bit differently, more or less. And so we'll go into that a little bit, but just know that it is a weighted exam. It's not like I just got to do this and just make the bare minimum. That's not the case. So, and the other thing is the location. You can take it in Sacramento, Oakland, Los Angeles vicinity, San Diego, or Fresno, one of their satellite locations, but Sacramento is the headquarters. That's where the application and everything goes through, but they do have testing locations elsewhere throughout the whole state of California. So the great thing about having the exam be electronic is you get your results right away. So when you hit that submit button, you're able to then bring all your stuff to the administrator. They'll print out a piece of paper, they'll give it to you. You'll be able to see on it that if you passed, congratulations. Or if you didn't pass, they'll say, okay, here's an overall average of a score that you got. So like maybe a 72%, and then a list of topics of how well, you were doing in those ones. But I'm gonna go into those a little bit more in depth and what those percentages kind of do. So because the examination is qualifying in nature, if you do pass, you're not notified of how well you did. So you might have done really great, or you barely passed, but you don't know. As long as you pass it, they give you that congratulations and you're good to go to get that license. But if you fail it, those percentages will be provided to you, but you can't average them out because the percentages are kind of just an idea of how well you did. They're not accurate on necessarily, if you didn't do well in this one area that, you got 75%. Well, you might have only had 4 questions in that area. You might have missed 1, or you might have had a ton of questions and you missed a few, but they were weighted more, the ones you did miss. So that affects your area, that basically the percentage. So it's completely just like an idea. It's not something that can base everything that you have to study off of, but it does give you something to go off of when you are studying if you don't pass it. And if you don't pass it, the cool thing is since you are notified right away, you can go schedule online with e-licensing. You do have to pay the $95 again for the broker's state exam. It's a moneymaker for the state, so it's $95 each time you do it. But the great thing is with it being on the exam with electronic, you can know and figure out and study right away, and you don't have to waste any time waiting for that delayed response of maybe a week or 2 weeks to see if you passed it and whether you should study or not. So you get notified and you can go from there. And so what the Bureau has publicized are the topics that they say will be on the state exam and the approximate percentage of basically the questions of what they will be of the state test. So for instance, Area 1, they have of property ownership regulations, land use, all that good stuff. So they say that's about 15%. So that might be 15% of the questions overall will be on those topics, but it's approximately. So it could be 10, could be 20, could be more or less, who knows? But the 15% also doesn't give you a great idea because it might be 15% of it is weighted that way. So it might be a ton of questions on it, but it's only weighted to 15% of the exam. So you never fully know what these mean. Just know that these topics are covered and that they probably would maybe be about 15% of it would be of this type of information, but you can only use this stuff loosely, just kind of as an idea. The biggest thing to know is just to be proficient in all of these. So then the other area is Area 2, Laws of Agency and Fiduciary Duties. They say that's about 17% of the exam. As I said, really can only take that number. It's not an arbitrary number. It does have some value, but we don't know if it's how much, the amount of questions, the percentage of it, or if it's weighted at 17%, but then again, it's approximate, so it could be more or less. And I'll reiterate this again, be proficient in everything, especially for the brokers. That's the biggest thing, and I'll get into that more later as well. Area 3, property valuation and financial analysis, that basically appraisal. They say that's about 14%. Area 4 is financing, 9% they say. Area 5, transfer of property, 8%. Area 6, practice of real estate and disclosures. They say that's 25%. Why that's 25% is this is like an all-encompassing type subject, where the other ones are very specific. This is where they have everything that you can put for what the law says how you would practice it. And for brokers especially, this can be a very challenging thing because you've had experience, or you've been, studying real estate, you've done something in the real estate industry, you've been doing something out there, and you have habits that you know. And the state exam is very illogical because it doesn't follow real world type ways of doing things. It is the theory of law. And that is why the Bureau feast, I say, that the brokers, they know that they have that experience and they can get them because of that real world. They'll answer it the way that they've been doing it for a few years now. But you have to know the theory. You have to get back into the mindset of the state exam studying type purposes and really get that theory of the law, and not how you would go about doing it, how the law and the Bureau wants you to do it. So that's the biggest thing to know about. And then Area 7, contracts, they say that's about 12%. That encompasses all the different types of contracts. Valid, void, voidable, enforceable, bilateral, all those kind of things. And then it comes down to, the types of listing agreements and the purchase agreements, So that's about 12% they say. And then I can't stress this more, real world versus state exam, especially for brokers, it's theory. State exam is theory, and that is what you really have to get in the mindset of. If you're thinking, oh, I've been practicing for years, I know this stuff inside and out, the Bureau knows that as well. So they know they can design the questions to make it seem like, oh, real world, and then what technically, legally they say that this should be. You really need to focus on the theory of the law and how the Bureau wants you to know it. So it does require you to study a lot. Even if you have experience and you're practicing and you have a busy life, you do need to find the time to set aside to study for brokers, because you don't want to be the person who's been practicing and very successful, go and take the state exam, and you, for some reason, you completely bombed it because, you had all this great real world to make you very successful in the real world, but the state exam, so different. And that's what we want to make sure of, so we can get you to pass that thing, so you can get on and continue being successful now as a broker. And that is our goal, to make sure. And of course, the Bureau, it's $95 each time you take it, more money and stuff. So we want to make sure you get this, you pass it, and you can get on, continue being successful and be a broker. So just know theory, theory, theory. Study a lot. Study as much as you can and make sure you're studying the right material. And so now, once you've done the state exam and you passed it, what do? Well, you receive your license, but then again, it also depends on what application you originally submitted to the Bureau, if you just did the examination or if you did the combo. If you did the combo, you get it then and there. If you did the examination only, you have to send in new paperwork and the new application and remaining fees to go get the broker's license to actually get that approved of. And I have a lot of information on the how to apply video regarding that, so check that out if you want more information on that. And then, as always, I am not the Bureau of Real Estate. I am not associated or affiliated with them. This is just general knowledge of the broker state exam that they have publicized online, and also from my own experience since I've done the broker state exam. And so basically, if you have questions that you want answered and you want the most accurate and up-to-date information, contact the Bureau. I have their information right there. They'll be glad to assist you. If you have some general information or some questions that I can assist you with, please feel free to comment below or email us, and we'll make sure we have a representative be able to answer those for you. But I hope you go about getting your broker's license. It's a great thing. If you retire, you can open and close shop when you want. So, if you're thinking about doing this, just know you have to put the energy and effort in up front to get the broker's license, because that state exam is a nasty one, but it's definitely doable if you have the right tools. Thanks for watching, and I'm Skylar with Accredited Real Estate Schools.